cute is this? Oh my gosh. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and this is my buddy Watson. He just crawled up here as I was about to start filming. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, I'm autistic, I have ADHD, I have total aphantasia, and a memory disorder, and those are the things I talk about on this channel. It is a vlog channel and not a medical diagnostic tool. I have a couple things I want to talk about. First, I want to go over a couple of my favorite fidgets lately because my favorite one that I found finally burst, and I just wanted to talk about it because I thought this was solid. I didn't think, like the way it felt, I didn't think there was anything that could burst from it. Like I thought it was like a solid substance, like silicone or something. That's kind of what it felt like. But it is filled with some kind of like gooey glue substance. And I played with this thing hard. Like I would stretch it like this and everything. And it lasted, I want to say about 3 weeks. It might have even been a whole month playing with it really hard. But I'm going to replace it because as far as fidgets go, the satisfaction is super high for me. And the cost of this one really wasn't too bad. I want to say it was like right around $5. And next time maybe I won't pull so hard on it. And I can still play with this one. I just have to be really careful because of the goo. And that stuff is like glue. It is super, super sticky. So once it bursts open, you have to be very, very careful with it. But it's super squeezy, satisfying. If you like slime, the density and the feel of slime, but you don't want it on your fingers, that's kind of what this gives me, that kind of satisfaction. But it is from the brand Nido, and it's the Nice Cube, and it comes in a couple different colors. So I'm going to replace this guy, but it's my favorite, and I'm sad that it burst open. Another favorite one that I like, which I was going to play with this one while I did the video, but it can actually be a kind of a loud one. And it's these 3 magnetic rings that you can kind of spin, but this is very satisfying to me. Obviously, this is not one that you want if other people around you that would be annoyed. But they're kind of fun to spin around and do different tricks with. This I got off Amazon. I don't remember the brand. It's a fairly cheap one. There is an expensive version of these that I would like to try because I think the magnets are stronger, because if you're not careful with these, they will go flying because the magnets are decent, but not super strong. So that one is one that I really love to play with when I'm by myself. And I do have these linked in my Amazon storefront in the description box. And then, I don't think I have this one linked, but just your standard spinner is one that's super satisfying for me. And I love this one because it does have the poppets. So I can go back and forth between spinning and doing poppets. And this rainbow slick color is visually stimmy to me too. So just wanted to highlight some favorite fidgets because adding fidgets into my life after my diagnosis has been one of the best accommodations that I have found for myself. It's helped in so many situations, in doctor's offices, going to my book club, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in this video, fidgets while I'm in therapy, while I'm filming this, anytime, like when y'all know that hair is driving me crazy, talking, and I need to concentrate. It's like my brain has to do 2 things at once. So fidgets are amazing. So trying to decide if I want to start with, I'm going to go ahead and start with the book club story, because it's just funny. So I have been going to a book club now for a couple of weeks. I've joined because a couple of things, like my friend circle has just gotten a lot smaller, and I'm a very extroverted person, and I'm looking to make new friends in my community. And one way to do that is to join a group that is related to something that you're interested in. I tried to join a a crochet group. It was a knitting and crochet group. This was before COVID, so it's been a while, but it was done through the library, and every single woman in that group was in their 70s. And, you know, I'm like, felt like I was crashing their party. They were very polite, but I did not feel welcome there. Like, I felt like I was crashing their party because they all wanted to talk about things that had to do with being in your 70s. Okay, I just had to check my mic. So like I said, as of recent, I joined this book club, and I've been going for now a couple of weeks, and I still haven't really made any connections, but I am getting something out of it. And that's something to talk about too, because starting something new is very difficult. Like, I was on this book club's email list for a year before I finally went to my first meeting, because it's how long it took me to kind of psych myself up to go. And it was probably longer than normal because I just had a lot going on in that year. Getting diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and my kids getting diagnosed too. So I did put some social stuff kind of like on a back burner, but even still, it took a long time for me to get up the energy level and the mental space to join this new club. So now that I'm here, I am having fun, but I haven't really, there isn't any one person where I'm like, oh, wow, I really hope to come closer with this person. Like, I just haven't had any connections yet with anybody, and I don't know if it will come over time. And I was talking with my therapist, I need to evaluate, do I want to spend more time in this group hoping to form a connection, or do I want to spend my time trying a new group, doing something else? And right now I determined that, because, I only have, even though I'm extroverted, I only have so much battery space to do these social activities, because it still takes a lot of mental energy and everything to go to them. So right now I'm having enough fun that I'm going to keep going to this one for a while, but my end goal isn't necessarily about the books. It was really about making a connection. And so after a couple more months, if it feels like I'm really just not connecting with anybody still, then I might look at finding some other kind of club to join. And it's really easy for autistic people to just get into a routine and do the thing because it's just part of our routine, instead of taking a step, evaluating, hey, is this something that I actually want to have going on in my life? And the people in the club are very nice and lovely. I just haven't, like I said, made a connection yet. And at every single time when there's a portion of the meeting where it's like, hey, everybody just sit around and mingle for a little bit, everyone breaks off into little groups, and I have yet to be able to try to enter myself into any of the conversations. It's immediately like all around me, people just turn towards each other, and I'm like in this little isolated bubble. And so the other thing I was talking about with my therapist, I said, I was trying to think how that would have been before my diagnosis, because my masked persona was extremely over the top bubbly, and I would have just forced my way in and been completely oblivious to any social cues that were going on. And now I'm not masked. I'm not that bubbly person. I'm still interesting, I think, but I'm not this fake bubbly, person anymore. So it's navigating newly, let's say that. Well, last time at the end of the meeting, we were going to gather up for a group picture over in a different area of the room. And we were at this really long table. And I had been running late. And so I just grabbed the quickest sweater I could because I knew it was going to be kind of chilly. Even though that sweater right now is a sensory ick for me. It used to be one of my favorite sweaters. And then suddenly overnight, I don't like the sweater anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel right anymore. But I haven't got rid of it because, this is, like I said, really sudden. And it was by my front door and I was running late. So I just grabbed it because I hate being cold. And if I was cold enough, I would have worn it. This sunbeam is really cool and interesting. Okay. So I had this sweater, but I hadn't put it on. But it was really cold. So I did put it across my lap at one point. But then we were getting up to go take the photo, and I sat the sweater on the table, and then I'm walking over. Well, one thing a lot of autistic people do is we might process our environment out loud. Not all autistic people do this, but I definitely do. And it's not that I'm complaining, but that's how it gets interpreted to autistic people. So I walk over and I say out loud, "Oh, I'm cold." I wasn't really complaining. I was just observing I'm cold. Like I've said in other videos, sometimes that's how I know when I have to go to the bathroom. I will say, "Oh, I gotta pee." That's the first time I hear myself say it, and then I'm now aware of it. Until it comes out of my mouth, sometimes I'm not aware of that thing. So and sometimes it's in the back of my mind, like I saw that sunbeam, oh, it's getting wider. And I didn't have to say it out loud, or maybe I did because when I saw it, I had to say it. I don't know. Anyway, so I walk over and I go, "Oh, I'm cold." And we had this guy in the group club this time. I mean, it's very female dominated, but we do have a few men in our group. And he said, "Oh, go grab your sweater." And I said, "I'm fine." And he looked at me like I was crazy. Like, seriously, he looked at me like, and then he said, "You're not fine. You just said you were cold." And the reason why I'm laughing is because it's like, how do you say all the things that are in your head all at once? Because I wanted to tell him, well, you don't understand. One, I have the pathological demand avoidance profile of autism. So when you told me to get my sweater, that felt like a demand on my system, and I'm not going to get my sweater now. Two, that sweater is a sensory ick right now. So I brought it in case I really, really had to use it, but I don't really want to wear it unless I have to, and I'm fine. I'm cold, but not fine enough to wear that sweater. And third, yes, it's only 10 feet away, but I'm here right now. My sweater's there, and I don't want to go from here to there. That one's a really weird one, and not everyone will relate, but it has to do with like ADHD inertia. I don't know. Like sometimes moving locations from one place to the other can be a mental tricky thing. And when I'm already in a kind of stressful situation, and even though I'm having fun, I'm still navigating and paying attention to, or trying to pay attention to all these different social things that are happening all around me. So that was the thing. I was like, I'm already over here in this group that's forming to line up for a photo. I don't want to go back over there. All of that's going through my head, but of course I just look out at him and I said, "I'll be fine for the photo." And that's one reason why it's like, it's important for me for autism awareness to keep being, talked about and spread, because my book club group does know I'm autistic. I brought it up just in different like books we've read and things like that. Now, whether they remember or not, but I have brought it up a couple of times. And, if I was able to have the shorthand of saying, "Hey, that sweater right now is sensory," or whatever. But instead, I just said, "I'm fine." But the whole thing was pretty funny. The other thing that it made me realize is that this guy has like this really thick beard. And that is an autistic trait that I've had since childhood that I never thought of before. And that is that I've always had a sensory, like, I want to touch men's beards. Like in the back of my mind, it's always felt like this like sensory scratchy, like in my brain, I want to. But because I am high masking autistic, I know it's socially inappropriate to go to two strange men and touch their beards. Now, some low masking autistic or higher support needs autistic people, these types of social cues, a lot of them do struggle with even more. And when they see something they are more likely to invade someone's personal space to do it. Like, if they saw my curly hair, they might want to touch it. Or if they saw the beard, their brains want that sensory input, and they will do it because they don't have as much awareness as somebody who is lower support needs. So even as a child, I knew it's not appropriate to just go around touching men's beards, but like my grandpa and my uncle, and even as an adult, my husband, whenever he's had a beard, I'm always wanting to scratch and rub on their beards. And this guy had this like really full, gorgeous beard, and like in the back of my brain, like I'm talking to him, having a normal human conversation at one point, and the back of my brain is like, I want to touch your beard, I want to touch your beard, I want to touch your beard, and it's just like, can't say that, can't do it, not appropriate. Oh my gosh. Okay. I didn't realize that story was going to take so long. Okay, well, I'm just going to do it. I can't be a one topic channel. I usually have more that I want to share and say. So I'm going to go ahead and say this other thing. Okay, my brain needs to switch topics. Okay. This is like, it really should be its own video, but I'm going to say, I want to put it on with this one. Okay. When you come across somebody who says everyone shows this autistic trait, well, that is true and not true, because all autistic traits are human traits. And see, my brain is like, no, keep this as a separate video. Okay, I'm going to keep this as a separate video. Y'all just tune back in. I will do this one as the next one. Maybe I'll even put it up for tomorrow. I think it's just an important enough topic that it needs to be its own video. And it's going to talk about that you don't look autistic, and or the topic of everybody has that trait. Everybody does that, right? And so I want to go into a depth on that. So make sure that I don't normally do this, guys. I don't like to leave people hanging, but it's important enough that I'm going to keep it separate, and I talk too much. So make sure that you hit the notification bell and subscribe if you haven't. And I super appreciate everybody's support. We are slowly approaching 20,000 subscribers, and that is so incredible. You guys are the best community ever. And until the next one, which I might try to get this one up by tomorrow. I'll see you. Oh, you give me kisses? You give me kisses?